Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe. Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swapadantigam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijna Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutdevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhur Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyatyadi Ishtarine. I will quickly sing the praise to the six Goswamis. You can sing along with me. Nana Shastra Vicharane Kanipuno Sadharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tripuvane Manyo Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nande Namataliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all for coming this morning. Please forgive me. I am far from qualified to speak on today's topic, but I will try to enlighten you on the devotional service in pure love of God, which is from the Nectar of Devotion, also known as the Bhakta Rasamrita Sindhu. So I will read and then I will discuss different parts. Hopefully we have enough time to go through all nicely. So it says here in the beginning of the chapter, when one's desire to love Krishna in one's particular relationship becomes intensified, this is known as pure love of Godhead. In the beginning, a devotee is engaged in the regulative principles of devotional service by the order of his spiritual master. When one thereby becomes completely purified of all contamination, there develops an attachment and taste for devotional service. This taste and attachment, when gradually intensified in the course of time, becomes love. So earlier on in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 2, there is a discussion on this thing called sadhana bhakti. And it's split up into two parts, which is Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. So Vaidhi Bhakti, if you remember, is bhakti, but following the rules and regulations given by the spiritual master. So he may tell you to do this, this, and this, or not to do this, this, and this. But actually it is still bhakti. So it is the early stages, and we are simply following what is prescribed by our spiritual master, who is one of the three authoritative sources. Eventually, and hopefully, that does develop into what is called Raganuga Bhakti, which is spontaneous devotional service. So here, one has reached a stage where the rules and regulations seem to fall away, and the person acts out of spontaneous love. They just want to serve Krishna. They know Krishna, they understand Krishna, and they simply want to serve however they can, you know. So it's an example like this, like school and teachers and learners. Initially, when a learner comes to the classroom, they are not so eager to learn or study and do their homework and things like that. But the teacher has to come there and, you know, force it upon them. You know, have you done your work? Did you do this example? Did you understand? If they don't do the work, then you have to call the parents and so on. But over time, as they realize that actually the studies is good for them, and when they study for a test and they do well, they say, oh, lucky I studied for that test because now I'm doing well. And they start to realize that this is actually helpful, this is useful. And so eventually, you don't need to force the learner to do the homework. You don't need to force them to study. They take it upon themselves. They end up waking up early, having bath and so on, and studying early parts of the morning. So similarly, from Vaidhi Bhakti, where you need the spiritual master to guide you, eventually they come to the realization that, hey, this is good. And they start to act spontaneously for the Lord. I'll continue. The word love can actually be applied only in relationship with the personality of Godhead. In the material world, love is not applicable at all. What goes on under the name of love in the material world is nothing but lust. There is a gulf of difference between love and lust, like the difference between gold and iron. So, in this world, many people are confused by the concept of lust and love. What they think is love is lust, and they think, oh, you know, I have a relationship with a person, be it with somebody I have affection for, or a family member. They think this is love. But here it is saying that in the material world, love is not applicable at all. So I'll try to give you some terms that separate or differentiate between the lust and love. So lust is actually material. Anything material is pretty much comes from lust. Why? Because it's temporary. It's self-centered and it is illusion. You must understand that lust in the material world, or what you may think is love in the material world, if it's self-centered, if it's to serve yourself. For example, you get into a relationship with somebody and you think, oh, what can this person do for me? Oh, they can buy me a nice house, they can buy me a car, they can take me out for lunch, for supper, and so on. Now, this is self-centered. You're thinking about what they can do for you rather than what you can do for them. That is where love comes in. Because love is spiritual. Love is not self-centered. Love is Krishna-centered. What can I do for Krishna? That is what love is. So as it says, in the material world, love is not applicable at all, because in the material world, in the material realm, Krishna is not material. Krishna is eternal. Also, when you get into a relationship with somebody, be it family, whatever form of relationship, that relationship is temporary. So you may want to serve that person, just like a family, a father or mother may serve the child, but for how long? 50 years, 60 years, maybe less, maybe more, but it's not eternal. So the concept of love needs that eternal aspect to it. So that is pretty much love and lust. So also here it is saying there is a difference between love and lust, like the difference between gold and iron. Now, gold and iron, we know that both are actually metals, but one is more purer, one is more valuable, one even looks better, and I think that will be the gold. Even has health benefits. I remember one time when I was younger, I had mumps, and then you take the gold and you place it there, and it helps. So gold compared to iron, right? Gold is much more purer, valuable. Iron is compared to the lust, right? It's common, less valuable, less aesthetically pleasing, as we would say. So this gold is rare, it's valuable, it's pure, it is the love. And this love is only for Krishna. You cannot really find it in the material world. If you think it is love, it is most likely lust. I'll continue. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is clearly stated that when lust is completely transferred to the Supreme Godhead and the concept of kinship is completely reposed in him, such is accepted as pure love of God by great authorities like Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhava, and Narada. Great authorities like Bhishma have explained that love of Godhead means completely giving up all so-called love for any other person. According to Bhishma, love means reposing one's affection completely upon one person, withdrawing all affinities for any other person. This pure love can be transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead under two conditions: out of ecstasy and out of causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So, Rupa Goswami here is saying that we should give up all so-called lust for any one person. Some of these aspects of love require trust, honesty, respect, care, understanding, kindness, reciprocation. Now, why we should give it up for any one particular person? Yes, we may find somebody that is actually genuine, that's actually nice, kind, and so on. And we want to show affection for them, we want to care for them. But again, to what extent can we do that? Sometimes you find people betray you. They turn their back on you, they gossip about you. Sometimes they lose their affection for you over time. They fell out of love, they say. So over time, these things tend to disappear or diminish. Now, in the case of true love, like pure, proper love is actually supposed to grow. It's not supposed to diminish. It's supposed to grow. As you engage more with a person, you're supposed to have more affection, more kindness, more trust, more honesty. So with any one person, you may think that, okay, I think I have a genuine relationship with this person, be it whatever form of relationship it is. But that will diminish at some point. And even if it doesn't seem to diminish, at the end of your life or their life, it's finished. You can't serve that person anymore. It's difficult to do that. So Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, he had so much compassion for his family. Right? If you remember from Bhagavad Gita, he had so much compassion for his family that he didn't want to even fight them. Yet his family did not feel the same way for them. So he is trying to care for them and show them affection, but how are they reciprocating? They still want to go ahead with this battle. So where is love here? But who actually showed Arjuna love? Who actually showed Arjuna? It was Krishna. Right? Krishna was right there with him, giving him advice, right? Giving him all the, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen to you. They're going to speak badly about you, and so on, so on. Krishna was there. He's giving him the hard truth, but because it's love for Arjuna. So again, if you remember, it was pure love of God by great authorities like Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhava, and Narada. So again, these are great authorities, right? We call them the Mahajans. And they are saying this to us, right? They are saying that take the path of Krishna Prema Bhakti, Krishna Prema. It's like the example of a doctor and a sick patient. Why we should listen to these great authorities? Because they know what is good for us and what is not good for us. So they are saying, give up all this material relationships, right? And just direct your focus on Krishna. Love Krishna. For example, the doctor and the sick patient. The Mahajans are like the doctor. If you are sick, you would not go to an engineer for advice. What is he going to tell you? You go to an expert on the subject matter, right? So these are the experts on the subject matter, right? At least a few of them. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Shri Gaura Hari ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So they are saying to transfer our misdirected propensity to love from any ordinary person unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Because if one wishes to have a full and pure experience of a loving relationship, you will get the satisfaction from the source of love, Krishna, also known as Madana or Madan Mohan, the attractor of Cupid himself. So Krishna, his name Madana or Madan Mohan, he is the source of all love. So if you really want to love somebody, love Krishna, the source of all that love. So the two conditions, which is out of ecstasy and out of causeless mercy, we will now go into that part. So ecstasy. Ecstatic love of Godhead can be potently invoked simply by following the rules and regulations of devotional service, as they are prescribed in scriptures, under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. In the 11th canto, 2nd chapter, verse 40 of Srimad Bhagavatam, this ecstatic love, born of the execution of regulative devotional service, is explained. A devotee, in the course of executing the regulative principles of devotional service, develops his natural Krishna consciousness, and being thus softened at heart, executing the regulative principles of devotional service, develops his natural Krishna consciousness, and being thus softened at heart, he chants and dances like a madman. While performing chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he sometimes cries, sometimes talks wildly, sometimes sings, and sometimes, without caring for any outsider, dances like a madman. So, in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, of this particular verse, it is said that Srila Sridhara Swami has described the spiritual situation as Samprapta Prema Lakshana Bhakti Yogasya Samsara Dharmatitam Gatim, or the perfectional stage of life in which one's devotional service to the Supreme Lord is enriched by ecstatic love. At that time, one's spiritual duties are entirely beyond the scope of worldly affairs. So basically at this point, the devotee doesn't care about material life because he has surrendered his life to Krishna and is concerned only in spiritual affairs, or at least anything pertaining to devotional service. But how can we recognize these ecstatic symptoms? So in the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced ecstatic symptoms and did not know what was happening. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Adi Leela, somewhere in 7th chapter, Lord Chaitanya commented, "While chanting the holy name of the Lord in pure ecstasy, I lose myself, and thus I laugh, cry, dance, and sing like a madman." So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately he approaches his spiritual master to ask him, why he had apparently become mad by chanting the holy name of Krishna. And what does his guru say? His guru replied, "Krishna nama maha mantrera eita swabhava ye japetara Krishne upajaye bhava." What does this mean? It is the nature of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that anyone who chants it immediately develops his loving ecstasy for Krishna. I'll continue. So in the Padma Purana, there is a statement about ecstatic love of spontaneous affection. Chandakanti, a celebrated fair-faced girl, rigidly observed celibacy in order to obtain Krishna as a husband. She always engaged herself in meditating on the transcendental form of the Lord and always chanted the glories of the Lord. She did not desire to accept anyone else as a husband. She had firmly decided that only Lord Krishna would be her husband. So this spontaneous ecstatic love means that the devotee did not care for anything material. As described, Chandrakanti had attractive qualities. Right? As it described here, a celebrated fair-faced girl. So she could get any man, most likely as a husband. But because she had such deep affection for Lord Krishna, she only desired to have Krishna as a husband. Another pastime that is similar to this is, similarly the gopis of Vrindavan also desired for Krishna to be their husband. So they would pray to this goddess Katyarani, another form of Lord Durga, or the goddess Durga. Right? And usually they pray to Katyarani, the gopis, that they get a good husband. But the gopis' intention, we understand, is that they did not look for any ordinary husband. They wanted Krishna. So Krishna, being Yogeshwara, adhered to the request, right? So Krishna knew now, the gopis really, they wanted him. So he adhered to the request. So we know the pastime when the gopis were taking bath in the river. Krishna came, right, up to nonsense as usual, and he stole the garments, right? And he stole the garments of the gopis. Now, the gopis were, they knew Krishna stole the garments and they requested for it, please give our garments back. But Krishna, of course, is refusing. Now, the gopis were getting cold. So they had no other choice but to come out of the river without clothes on. So that time, a woman should only present herself, without clothes, only in front of her husband. But now the gopis had no other choice. They had to come out of the river. So they presented themselves in front of Krishna as such. So in this way, you could say that Krishna accepted them as wives and they accepted Krishna as husbands. So he adhered to the request in this way to his pure devotees. So that is the ecstasy part. Right? And the second part here is the Lord's extraordinary mercy. When a devotee is found to be always associated with the Lord in ecstatic love, it is to be understood that such a position has been awarded by the Lord himself out of his causeless extraordinary mercy. An example of such extraordinary mercy is given in the 11th canto, 12th chapter, verse 7 of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Lord Krishna tells Uddhava, "The gopis in Vrindavan did not study the Vedas to achieve me, nor had they ever been to holy places of pilgrimage, nor did they devoutly execute any regulative principles, nor did they undergo any kind of austerity. It is simply by my association that they have attained the highest perfection of devotional service." So we know that the gopis of Vrindavan are amongst the most intimate associates of the Supreme Lord. And they attained pure love of Krishna without following the typical processes and procedures that we have to follow. I can't recall talking about the gopis being scholars and performing years of austerity and penance. We usually hear pastimes of them just playing with Krishna or engaging some fun pastime, playing pranks or something like that. Yet they are amongst the topmost, if not the best of the best devotees, if one is, looking for a great devotee. So generally those who worship the Lord through speculative knowledge, they are the jnanis. Those who worship in fruitive work, the karmis. The gopis, however, are not interested in all of these forms of worship. They are engaged in prema bhakti, pure devotional service. This is the highest perfectional stage of worship. And all other forms of worship are designed to lead you to bhakti yoga. So the gopis engage in first-class devotional service with the Lord in this way, because the path of bhakti, pure devotional service, is the resultant end of all other processes. So Nectar of Devotion, or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindur, 1.1.11. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmade anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilana bhaktir uttama. When first-class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires, knowledge obtained by monastic philosophy and fruitive action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. So the gopis they fulfill this mantra, right? That they are always constantly serving Krishna as Krishna desires. Right? Now, some of you may argue, how is it that the gopis, they didn't study and so on? How do they know what they are doing is right? How do they know, Krishna is God and so on? So, if we recall from Bhagavad Gita 1855, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yas chami tattva. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by my devotional service. Right? This is stated in Bhagavad Gita 1855. Right? So Krishna is basically saying that you can only truly understand me by engaging in devotional service. You can read all the Vedas that they are to know. You can know all 700 verses of Pahat, of Bhagavad Gita. You can know all 18,000 of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11 odd Chaitanya Charitamrita. That will still not guarantee you pure devotional service or pure love of God. Krishna is saying, only by devotional service, right? To engage in bhakti. But still one may say, but how can they still know that? How can they still know? So in Bhagavad Gita 10:10, it says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Krishna, who is the Paramatma within each and every living entity, at different times he can reveal great knowledge to us, which leads us closer to him. Krishna always declares to us to engage in loving devotional service to him. So this is how the gopis know, right? Without having studied all the Vedas, from what I know, right? I don't know them as scholarly. I just know that they are friends with Krishna. But they know Krishna. We, after studying and performing austerities and fasting and all that, we still don't know Krishna. Right? So only devotional service can truly bring us closer to Krishna. So I'll continue. From the example of Chandrakanti as found in the Padma Purana, and from the example of the gopis as found in Srimad Bhagavatam, it appears that a devotee who always thinks of Krishna and who always chants his glories in ecstatic love, regardless of his condition, will attain the highest perfection of unalloyed devotional love due to Lord Krishna's extraordinary mercy. So, every time we hear or we experience some difficulty in our practice, and other people are complaining, this is too hard, and there's so much service, and the chanting, I can't focus, and my situation, my work life, and so on. I always think of Prahlad Maharaj, because Prahlad Maharaj was in the worst of the worst situations. He was born in a family of demons. And they don't even want to hear the name of Vishnu. So how is it that he still, amongst all of that, regardless of his condition, how did he become such a pure devotee? He's a Mahajan. How did he become such a pure devotee? Right? So we can never really complain, right? We just constantly pray to the Lord, right? Always think of him, worship him, right? Engage in his service. Regardless of the situation, the Lord will sort it out in some way that if your intention is pure. Even another personality like Haridas Thakur, he was not born in a Vaishnava family, right? We know that he come from the Mohammedan family, but yet he's Namacharya, right? He's the perfect example of someone who is always chanting the holy name. Even Hanuman is not human, right? He doesn't have a human body, but he's one of the greatest devotees of Lord Ram. So regardless of the situation, we can never really complain. If your intention is pure and you really want to serve the Supreme Lord, it will happen. But if you keep complaining, I can't do this, this is in the way, then you're not going to get the favor of the Lord, right? Because you're not true to your word. Now I'll continue here. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. If a person worships, adores and loves Hari, the Supreme Lord, he should be understood to have finished all kinds of austerity, penances, and similar processes for self-realization. On the other hand, if after undergoing all types of austerities, penance, and mystic yoga practices, one does not develop such love for Hari, then all his performances are to be considered a useless waste of time. If someone always sees Krishna inside and out, then it is to be understood that he has surpassed all austerities and penances for self-realization. And if, after executing all kinds of penances and austerities, one cannot always see Krishna inside and out, then he has executed his performances uselessly. The example is like a marathon. You may be training, and if you're taking part for a marathon, it's quite a bit of training, years, right? Years of training. So you may train and train and train, but when you start the race and you haven't realized Krishna, then you are running in the opposite direction. It is useless, waste of time doing all of that. Right? The goal is Krishna. Right? And everything that you do, everything that you study should lead you on the path to realizing Krishna. The bad example is Hiranyakashipu. He performed severe austerities, right? We know he meditated so much that Lord Brahma appeared to give him some boon. But even after doing all of that, he still could not understand that the Lord is everywhere. So when the time came, when he asked Prahlad, where is your Supreme Lord? Right? Hiranyakashipu could not accept that he was in the pillar. Right? So doing all of these things, but no God realization, no Krishna realization. So this is demonic mentality. Now we are not aiming for demonic mentality. We are trying to please Krishna favorably as he desires. So everything we should do is to direct us to serving Krishna nicely. Spontaneous attraction to Krishna, which is said to be due to the extraordinary mercy of the Lord, can be placed under two headings. One is profound veneration for the greatness of the Lord, and the other is one's being automatically attracted to Krishna without any extraneous consideration. So here the mercy of Krishna can be received as a result of 1, profound veneration for the Lord's greatness, and 2, automatic attraction to Krishna without extraneous consideration. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is said that if on account of profound veneration for the greatness of the Supreme Lord, one attains a great affection and steady love for him, one is certainly assured of attaining the 4 kinds of Vaishnava liberation, namely achieving the same bodily features as the Lord, achieving the same opulence as the Lord, the dwelling on the planets where the Lord is residing, and attaining eternal association with the Lord. The Vaishnava liberation is completely different from the Mayavad liberation, which is simply a matter of being merged into the effulgence of the Lord. So as a Vaishnava, one can receive the mercy of Krishna through profound veneration of worship, and as a result of this, Krishna awards liberation, mukti, to the devotee. Now the problem that many devotees initially face is that they desire liberation from this material world. So why is this actually a problem? Because liberation is not the goal of life. If you ask a devotee, not all devotees, right? Usually when you are new, what is the goal of life? They will commonly answer, well, I want to be liberated from the material world. No. This is actually a byproduct, right, of pure devotional service. It's a byproduct. But our focus again, right, or at least for the person who is new, they still think in terms of the material benefit. How can I get out? So they think liberation. But actually this is not the goal of life, right? The goal of life is to engage in pure devotional service of Krishna. Some of them may not even know that there are different kinds of liberation. As described in Nectar of Devotion, chapter 4, there are 5 stages of liberation. Right? The first one is to become one with the Lord. This is called Sayujya. 2, to live on the same planet as the Lord, Shalokya. 3, to obtain the same bodily features as the Lord, Sarupya. 4, to have the same opulences as the Lord, Sharsti. And 5, to have constant association with the Lord, Samipya. So of course from these 5 types of liberation, actually the Vaishnava is not concerned with one of them, which is the first one, to become one with the Lord. So we understand that to be the Mayavadi's aspirations, right? They want to merge, so become one with the Lord in the effulgence. But even so, with this liberation, a pure devotee is not even concerned with the liberation. In the pastimes of Lord Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj, after the killing of Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev offered Prahlad Maharaj liberation from this world. But how did Prahlad Maharaj respond? He was not personally interested in liberation from the material world. Rather, he did not wish to be liberated from this material condition until all fallen souls were delivered. Right? So a great personality, Prahlad Maharaj, he didn't care for liberation. Right? That was not his primary concern. In the Sri Damodarastikam, the prayers that we sing during the Kartik month, right, verse 4, we sing, Varam deva moksham na moksham vadim vam nachanyam vrineham varesadapiha. What are we singing? We are singing that, O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benediction, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. We are praying this, right? We are praying, I'm not interested in liberation. I just want to engage in your pure devotional service. And above all, the Maha Mantra, when we chant the Maha Mantra, Right? The Mahamantra is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What are we actually asking for? Are we saying, oh, energy of the Lord, oh Krishna, please kindly give me liberation? No. Please kindly engage me in your devotional service. That is what we are praying for day in and day out, every beat that we go through. That is what we are asking for. We are not interested. As Vaishnavas, we are not interested in liberation. Right? We are only interested in pure devotional service. So the great personalities, they understand this. Liberation is not the goal. And we should understand that only pure devotional service is the path to perfection. I only have about 10 minutes. I will try to go through this as quickly as possible. In the Nadara Pancharatra, pure unalloyed devotional service is explained as being without any motive for personal benefit. If a devotee is continuously in love with Lord Krishna and his mind is always fixed upon him, that devotional attitude will prove to be the only means of attracting the attention of the Lord. In other words, a Vaishnava who is incessantly thinking of the Lord, of the form of the Lord, is to be known as a pure Vaishnava. So pure Vaishnava, pure devotee, never seeks anything from the Lord. In other words, he does not wish to engage in some sort of business with the Lord. I give you something, you give me something in return. Pure devotional service, which stems from love, means that you render some loving activity unto the Supreme Lord without ever thinking of receiving anything in return. So you engage in devotional service, don't expect Krishna to fulfill 1, 2, and 3. When you engage in devotional service, I just want to do that for you, and I hope that I get to do something else for you the next time. And you keep going like that. You don't worry about what Krishna, whether Krishna reciprocates or not. But Krishna, being the kind person he is, he will. If your intention is pure, if you're doing it without any ulterior motive, he will reciprocate, because that's how love works. It's a two-way process. You cannot engage with somebody and they are not reciprocating. That's not love. Now, Krishna is not going to lie to you and say, well, I'm engaging in a lusty relationship with you. No, it's a loving relationship, so he will reciprocate. But we don't think about that. We don't ever think about that. We just simply want to serve. I want to serve you because I love you, Krishna. That's it. So a pure Vaishnava engages in pure devotional service with the aim to please Krishna, and this actually attracts Krishna to that devotee. Krishna is actually the all-attractive personality, but he becomes attracted himself by pure love and devotion. And of course, who is the embodiment of pure love and devotion? Who is the only one person that Krishna is really attracted to? Srimati Radharani. Right? So Krishna is always seeking Radharani because of her love. Thereby we can understand that when Krishna glances upon us with his mercy, it is because he becomes pleased when we render pure, loving devotional service to him. So generally a devotee who has achieved the causeless mercy of the Lord on account of following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service becomes attracted by the supreme greatness of the Lord, by the transcendental beauty of the Lord, and by the spontaneous execution of devotional service. To be more clear, by executing the regulative principles of devotional service, one can fully appreciate the transcendental beauty of the Lord. In any case, such exalted positions are possible only by the extraordinary mercy of the Lord upon the devotee. So because the living entities are so contaminated and conditioned by the material world, it is difficult to express our pure love of Krishna. That is why there are these rules and regulations, these austerities we have to perform. It cleanses us. It removes all this dust, right? All these bad habits, bad ways, all these anarthas we have accumulated, so that we can once again be situated with our Supreme Lord and friend. Okay, 5 minutes. Let's see. Association with pure devotees. I'll try to go through this very quickly. I won't all the notes I made. So although many different processes for developing love of Godhead have been explained so far, Srila Rupa Goswami now gives us a general description of how one can best achieve such a high position. The beginning of ecstatic love of Godhead is basically faith. There are many societies and associations of pure devotees, and if someone with just a little faith begins to associate with such societies, his advancement to pure devotional service is rapid. The influence of a pure devotee is such that if someone comes to associate with him with a little faith, one gets the chance of hearing about the Lord from authoritative scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So the association of devotees is extremely, extremely important. Right? Narad Muni, there are so many pastimes I could have quoted. One of them is simply by association with Narad Muni. When Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb of his mother, right, he was hearing the Krishna Katha coming from Narad Muni, and he became pure devotee just by association with Narad Muni. Some of you may also know the pastime of Mrigari and Narad Muni. Mrigari used to half kill animals, but upon taking association with Narad Muni, right, he became pure devotee. He would not even, although he came from a position of half killing animals, which is worse than killing the animal, he came to a point of a devotee where he would not even step on the ants. As he would walk, he would tiptoe away from them. That is just association with the pure devotee. Another pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. Without him, we would not even be here, right? Just by him, the whole world is influenced. Maybe the whole universe is influenced, right? By association of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is so powerful that he does not even have to be physically present in front of us. His books, the books that he wrote, is what brought us here. That is his potency. So with a little faith, Krishna guides you. And those who have some faith and some knowledge, right? The devotees, we are asked, right, now go and share that knowledge, engage in preaching, spread the holy name. That is the mission of Lord Chaitanya. So thus, by the mercy of the Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, one gradually develops his faith in the descriptions of such authoritative scriptures. This is the first stage of association with pure devotees. So this paragraph is dealing with the 9 stages of devotional service. I'll continue here. In the second stage, after one becomes a little advanced and mature, he automatically offers the following principles of devotional service under the guidance of the pure devotee and accepts him as a spiritual master. In the next stage, under the guidance of the spiritual master, the devotee executes regulative devotional service, and as a result of such activities, he becomes free from all unwanted occupations. When he is freed from unwanted occupations, his faith becomes steadily fixed and he develops a transcendental taste for devotional service. Then attachment, then ecstasies, and the last stage, there is pure love of Godhead. So those are the different stages of the development of pure love. One of the most fortunate persons can achieve such success in life. Those who are simply academic students of the Vedic scriptures cannot appreciate how such a development takes place. In the Narada Pancharatra, Lord Shiva therefore tells Parvati, "My dear Supreme Goddess, you may know me that any person who has developed the ecstasy of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who is always merged in transcendental bliss on account of this love, cannot even perceive the material distress or happiness coming from the body or mind." So again, even if one studies all scriptures, he cannot attain pure love of God. Pure love of Godhead is only achieved through pure devotional service. The affection and dealings of love that are different branches of the original tree of love precede many varieties of affectionate manifestations that will not be discussed here. These different manifestations have been described by Sanatana Goswami in the Bhagavatamrita. Although the subject of such affections and dealings of love is very confidential, Sanatana Goswami has described them very explicitly. So we are towards the end here. Sri Rupa Goswami thus concludes the first divisions of Bhakta Rasamrita Sindhu, offering up his treatise for the transcendental pleasure of Sanatana Goswami, who has established the transcendental beauty, and of Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. It appears from the statement that the great Sri Jiva Goswami was not yet active when Bhakta Rasamrita Sindhu was written. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta summary study of the first division of Bhakta Rasamrita Sindhu up to the descriptions of ecstatic love of Godhead, which are to follow next. So thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. So it's 8:30 exactly. I don't think we have time for questions. But is there anybody who would want to take 5 minutes to say something? Okay, thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.